Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. It is Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. In a tearful Instagram live post, Black Lives Matter founder Patrice Cullors described feeling threatened after Candace Owens arrived with a news crew outside her home in Los Angeles over the weekend. Have people like Candace Owens, who many say is the poster child for Black self hatred, gone too far? Well, let's discuss that and more this morning with Jeffrey Boney of the Houston Forward Times and Rashonda Tate Billingsley of the Defender Network in Texas. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, guys, Patrice Cullors, very emotional video she posted. She says that of Candace Owens, she was demanding that I come outside. It's really unacceptable. It's dangerous, Patrice Cullors says, when Candace Owens, another Black woman who is actually working as a part of the right wing agenda, comes outside my house with cameras and just basically tries to intimidate her. I'm gonna start with you, Rashonda. Your initial reaction when you saw this. I mean, Patrice Cullors, this soldier, she's is brought to tears.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. And here's the thing: journalists understand going to people's houses. Candace Owens is not a journalist, and we don't go to people's houses and yell for them to come outside. We don't come yell, threaten, and making them feel threatened. We go there in a professional manner. We may try and ring a doorbell. We may try and talk to people, but the bottom line is Candace was trying to go viral. That's the bottom line. She was trying to go out and above and beyond where people would be talking about her, and her right wing followers could say, "You go, girl," and she would feel like she did something.
Yeah, Jeff. Candace Owens, of course, is a conservative known for her fangirl obsession with former President Donald Trump and other white conservatives, and the rhetoric she often spews online and on television she's led the charge against the Black Lives Matter movement, and she's also seized upon this reports of this $6 million home that the Black Lives Matter movement has in Los Angeles.
Yeah, as was stated, by Patrice herself, this was totally unacceptable, extremely dangerous. People now know where she lives, and regardless of your position on Black Lives Matter or any organization or position, to bring that type of attention to somewhere you live and you reside, you lay your head down at night, is not at all acceptable. It's very dangerous. You have a lot of fringe people out here. Look at what happened January 6th at the Capitol, and Donald J. Trump encouraging individuals to storm the Capitol, by just his mere words. And so for someone who has a following like Candace Owens, to bring that type of attention to one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, it really could open up the floodgates for many other individuals who you may or may not agree with.
Yeah, and that's what Patrice Cullors was saying pretty much, Jeff. And as she said, first of all, that's not even the so-called $6 million home. That was her private residence. The home that everyone is in an uproar about represents a space, according to Black Lives Matter, it represents a space for Black creators. She said, Patrice has said that this is something that Black organizations need. They need to own property. They need to have equity. And she's been lambasted for her purchase of this home, for the foundation's purchase, because let's face it, she would not have been able to purchase it without the blessing of the foundation. And that's not the home that Candace went to. That she went to her private home, apparently thinking anyway, that was the foundation's so-called $6 million home that the right wing media continues to pound on. Rashonda, talk about that a little bit, if you will. That, as Patrice said, the properties that they're purchasing for the movement, and she likened it to churches purchasing property, and others. She says the NAACP and others need to have property as well.
Yeah, Candace isn't even a good fake journalist. She didn't even do her homework the right way. I know that her purchasing of the home created a lot of controversy, but I do agree with her mindset that we need to build generational wealth and property is one of the ways to do that. And I really could see if this was a place that she was living in, I could see some of the uproar. But the minute that this becomes a place where people, Black and brown people, can go and really, release their creators, like she said that she wanted to do, or become a community, a foundation for people to go in and hold meetings, just a source of a benefit to the community, then I see people can say, okay, I can see the vision. Right now, I think the problem is people don't see the vision that Patrice has. Whether you agree with what she's doing, what Candace is doing is creating a fiery surrounding for her. If you look at April Ryan literally had to move. She had to get security. Her life was upended because of these right-wing frenzies. And that is what Candace is doing to Patrice and the Black Lives Matter movement. I hate that we even have to cover Candace and give her a platform because that's what she wants.
Yeah, and Jeff, let's go talk about Candace just for a moment here. And folks like Candace, we've seen several people like her, and who call themselves conservative, but appears to have a lot of self-hate, as far as a Black self-hate, really, in particular. What's the deal with that, Jeff?
I'm reminded of civil rights history, and I think about what happened in 1956 in Montgomery, Alabama, when a white supremacist bombed the home of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Although nobody was harmed, I mean, it sent shockwaves through the Montgomery, Alabama community. You think about the same with Malcolm X and many other civil rights leaders, people who have stood up for Black people. And I just feel like this is more of the same. It's kind of like deja vu. And sadly, you have an African-American woman, a young African-American woman, pushing a right-wing agenda, and knowing that the fringe people who are responding to this are not people of color. They're not Black women. They're not Black people. They're white supremacists mostly, or people that are the ones pushing against quote-unquote so-called critical race theory and various stop the steal and all these types of things that are false narratives that are being put out there. So, to see a young African-American woman attack another young African-American woman here in 2022 is sad.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. If there is something untoward that Patrice Cullors has done, the Black Lives Matter movement has done, it would be exposed, right, Rashonda? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, this has been going on for a little while now.
It has, and it really does make me wonder how much of this is her deep-seated belief, and how much of this is I found a way to go viral. I found a way to build my followers, and the minute that they get into any trouble, the minute that they realize that they're Black, they come running back. Ask Omarosa, and they come back running back looking for our support. And and it's just a sad testament of who she is, what she believes, and her perpetuating that hate.
Well, and to your point, we remember Omarosa, and many might remember Robin Roberts' response on Good Morning America, where she said, "Bye, Felicia." I mean, she wasn't having it, and perhaps Jeffrey, perhaps that might have to be the attitude with many, because Rashonda is correct. We see that when all else fails, after their foray into the quote unquote white world, they come running back when things fall apart.
Well, I go back and I think about Stacey Dash and how she had her 10 seconds of fame, 5 minutes of fame, trying to go down that same path. But sadly, I wish we could just simply say bye Felicia or bye Karen or whatever it is. But these are our realities now, and they're bringing harm and attention to us in ways in which we don't deserve and or need. And we're in dangerous times now. You see people are, doing things that are unprecedented in our modern lifetime, but it kind of is reminiscent of the days of old. And I think that we really need to be careful. We need to be cognizant. We need to be vigilant. We need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves by any means necessary so that we're not put in harm's way. But people like Candace Owens, is not helping anything. She's fanning the flames and putting gas on a already burgeoning fire here in this country, particularly after the most recent president and his rhetoric here in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of poster children for Black self-hatred, many will argue Justice Clarence Thomas. He says he's worried that the respect for institutions are eroding, and many say that's very rich of him to say. He said the judiciary is threatened if people are unwilling to live with outcomes we don't agree with, and that recent events at the Supreme Court might be one symptom of that. Thomas, speaking to judges and lawyers at the 11th Circuit Judicial Conference, did not speak directly about the leak of a draft opinion that would have overturned Roe v. Wade, a colossal breach of the court's procedures. Thomas's concerns about declining respect for institutions is rooted in fact that the Supreme Court's reputation in particular has suffered in recent years, but the conservative judge seems willfully ignorant of the deliberate developments that created such conditions. It was Senate Republicans, Jeff and Rashonda, who stole a Supreme Court seat in 2016 as part of a larger effort to politicize the judiciary. Columnist Dana Milbank added that worse, this Mitch McConnell-packed Roberts Court has returned to favor by stacking the deck in favor of in favor of minority rule by Republicans. It has blessed partisan gerrymandering, given Republicans representation in the House disproportionate to their share of the electorate. It has allowed elections to be decided by billionaires and corporations spending unlimited sums of untraceable money. It has kneecapped labor unions, co-signed voter suppression schemes by Republican-run states, and eviscerated the Civil Rights Era Voting Rights Act to disastrous effects for Black people. Let's start with you, Rashonda. Clarence Thomas, is it hypocritical of Clarence Thomas now to say that these things are having a bad effect on the court, this so-called outside pressure?
Yeah, the level of hypocrisy by Clarence Thomas, it would be laugh out loud funny if it were not so serious in terms of the real impact to Americans. He doesn't want bullying unless that bullying is done in support of issues that he agrees with. I just think that I don't even know where to begin with Clarence Thomas. The hypocrisy runs from him to the actions of his wife, Jenny Thomas, who just after the 2020 election was a cheerleader for the January 6th protests and attacks on the Capitol, and to the issues that he supports, he and other conservatives support. He talks about he wants a free society, but then you look at the governor of Oklahoma, who signed into law a near total ban of abortion, meaning a woman who was raped has to carry the rapist's fetus. And that's Thomas's idea of a free society. To me, it's barbaric, his ideas, his ideology. And when we talk about Black self-hatred, I think Clarence Thomas is the president of the pack.
And Jeff, Clarence Thomas has been especially brazen as well. When you hear him talk about the bullying, what's your reaction? Because many say, as Rashonda just stated, he does the bullying.
Well, it should be no surprise. Clarence Thomas, regardless of race, is known as the most conservative Supreme Court justice on the court. So I'm not surprised by hearing his rhetoric or his positions. But, it's ironic listening to him talk about accepting these type of outcomes. Imagine if we would have accepted the outcomes from many other Supreme Courts of past. I think back we're in the month of May, and in about 8 days, we'll be celebrating, I guess, the anniversary, if you want to call it that, of Plessy versus Ferguson on May 18th of 1896. And when you think about, Homer Plessy, who, of course, tried to sit in he didn't want to move to a blacks only railway car, and he was arrested because of it. And you think about the majority opinion on that, stating that that's what brought forth separate but equal, and that it stated that, he was arrested in accordance with the Louisiana's Separate Car Act. And you think about how, the Supreme Court at that time in 1896 said that it was okay to separate him and to basically be segregationists in Louisiana, that it was acceptable. And the Supreme Court, well, the majority of the Supreme Court, there was one dissenting Supreme Court justice. But imagine if we would have, as a country, said that this was the norm, that this is the law. It took more than a half a century for Brown versus Board of Education to come forth to overturn that. So, you think about the dangerous rhetoric, fast forward to 2022, and you hear comments like this from Clarence Thomas, again, someone that is your skin folk, but not your kinfolk, it's just a disturbing time. Candace Owens, Clarence Thomas, I mean, you name it. It's just an interesting time for Black people in this country.
Yeah, and how much more difficult, Rashonda, does a Clarence Thomas, a Ben Carson, a Candace Owens, how much more difficult, Omarosa you mentioned, how much more difficult do they make it for Black America, especially, look, we talk about civil rights, any rights we've gained, it seems like this court is stripping away slowly but surely, because again, many people contend that the abortion, the Roe v. Wade, that's just the beginning of them coming for rights.
Yeah, what happens is they validate the Clarence Thomases, the Candaces, they validate white folks who feel like this. And they're like, see, these people are Black people and they agree with me. And so these people, Clarence and Candace and the Bens, they become the poster child for Black America, for these white people to further their own agendas. Thomas's remarks are not about a free society or bullying or respect for the law. This is Thomas, like many on the right, slamming tactics that don't further his own agenda. It's bad enough when politicians, when the Mitch McConnells of the world embrace this mentality, but it's just far worse when members of the highest court in the land do it. His words, to me, erode the concept of what the Supreme Court stands for in the guarding of all of our rights. To me, now the Supreme Court is simply part of the GOP political apparatus.
Yeah, Jeff's a lot of things. Jeff's a councilman, Jeff's award-winning journalist. He's the host of Real Talk Junkies, but I know one thing he's not, and that is a therapist. But Jeff, I want you to take us, if you can, inside the minds of folks like Clarence Thomas, like Ben Carson. How does that happen? At one point they were Black babies. How does this happen?
Every one of us is not raised the same, and everyone doesn't have the same ideologies, the same upbringing, the same relationships. And so I'm never surprised by people who think differently than me or the average, as one say, the average or normal Black person. As far as, I look at Ben Carson, I look at Clarence Thomas differently than I look at someone like Candace Owens or Stacey Dash or Diamond and Silk or whoever you want to put out there that are the Black folks of the day, Black folks du jour. I think that, Ben Carson and Clarence Thomas, people like them have really bought into a political, religious, moral ideology that is aligned with that of some of the people on the right wing. And some of these people are far right wing. And they've bought into that. Sometimes you can really be so heavenly minded, as they say, you could be no earthly good. And I think in some cases, some people are driven by certain religious and political ideologies that they can't, they're too far gone. I mean, it's like they can't come back. And there's nothing that you can do to change their minds or their mindsets and their ideologies. They're deep in. Or they've fallen into the deep end, and there's no way to save them.
Yeah, Rashonda, Bobby Henry.
I also saw there are people that have recognized that this can be profitable for me, because if you look at Diamond and Silk, polyester and whatever, they used to be Democrats, and then they realized switching over and being controversial can be profitable to me. And so I think that some of them buy into that as well. Black people are not monolithic. We don't all have to agree and think the same and be the same. But people like Candace Owens and Clarence Thomas, they take it to the extreme. You can support the GOP ideology, though I don't know why you would, but you can support that and not be so vocal where you're bashing the Black community, bashing your community. And that's what I think they've done.
Stacey,
Yeah.
I have a real life scenario that just took place this past week. I was speaking to an African American female who is actively involved in the political space here in the greater Houston area. It was interesting that we were talking about this very subject, about the leak of the Supreme Court, opinion from Alito, and what the potential ramifications of them overturning Roe versus Wade would be. And she co-signed on it. And more importantly, I talked about, well, what about the instance of rape? And out of her own mouth, she said, and I quote, well, what was she doing to get raped? Unquote. Oh, wow. And I said, what? I was like, clearly, I'm looking to think maybe you're not being serious, maybe you're playing. Right. But she started going down this rabbit trail about, morality and God. And, if she wouldn't have put herself in that situation, or if she wasn't in the wrong, if she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if she wasn't wearing what she was wearing, or if she wasn't inebriated. She gave all these excuses as to what that person did to justify being raped. And that's just the rape example, not just the fact that a woman should have the right to choose. It was really more strongly on the morality side. And guess what? She's a professed Democrat. So it's just interesting.
Let me lift up some of the comments. David Youngblood says, we raised generations of Black children as second class under the rule of law. James Wright says that Supreme Court justices are supposed to be apolitical. We know that's out the window now. And we see Darnell Henderson. We know where you're coming from, Darnell. Darnell does not have the stomach for Ketanji Brown Jackson. He does not have the stomach for Kamala Harris as vice president. I guess he has his reasons. Bobby Henry says and welcome back, Bobby Henry. It's good to see Bobby back with us. Those famous words that are written into law in the Supreme Court case of Brown versus the Board of Education that says, with all deliberate speed. And it's obvious that with all deliberate speed, they are trying to eradicate anything positive about Black people. And the NNPA's executive administrator, Claudette Perry, says before long, SCOTUS will overturn the 14th Amendment. Seems that's where we're headed. And Rashonda, that's what I was talking about. What other rights are they coming for?
It always starts small, and they can come and they can. It starts with abortion today. It's contraception tomorrow. It will continue to go on. They're going to continue to push the limit. We may think that these outlandish things won't happen. I remember having conversations with people that would say Donald Trump would never be elected. He's just too crazy. He's too over the top. And I would say he's crazy like a fox. And Donald Trump ended up being elected. And I think that's what's going to happen. Every little thing that we think won't happen will end up coming back. And they'll come for civil rights. They'll come for everything. We no longer need affirmative action at all. We no longer need special accommodations at all. It's coming.
Well, if you look at how this decision, this opinion, I should say, this leaked opinion was written by Judge Alito, you get the impression that they certainly are going to be coming for other rights. So something to keep an eye on, folks. It's not just about abortion. We at this program, let it be known, the Black press have been telling you that from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Aspiring content creators, journalists, and communication experts can find themselves at the forefront of change by covering the exciting and continued transformation from gas to electric vehicles. Join the Chevy National Newspaper Publishers Association's expanded Discover the Unexpected Fellowship 2022 Summer Scholarships. The program offers more students from HBCUs internships to explore various roles and develop skills as change agents in their communities. In its 6th year, the program will provide 10 students from HBCUs with a 10-week summer internship from June 7th to August 14th. The NNPA, which of course is the trade association of the more than 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies. We'll place 6 of the students with prestigious news organizations across broadcast, film, and journalism disciplines. Chosen students will focus on digital and social content creation. At the same time, Chevrolet will offer 5 additional students the opportunity to work within the brand's business. The officials are saying that the fellows would fully immerse themselves in the Chevy organization and contribute to brand building and go-to marketing planning. Each fellow will receive a $10,000 scholarship, a $5,000 stipend, and they'll have access to a 2022 Bolt EV. They'll also, of course, Jeff, enjoy a journalism fellowship of a lifetime. Jeff, I point you out because I know that the 4 Times have worked with these fellows in the past. And let me just add this too. This is very important before I turn it over for your thoughts, Jeff and Rashonda. Applicants must complete the application process by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, May 16th. That's 11:59 p.m. I'm told Pacific time by uploading the specific information to the fellowship website. Go to nnpa.org/ChevyDTU and fill it out. This is a fabulous program, $10,000 scholarship, $5,000 stipend. Jeff, you guys have worked with these fellows before. Give us some insight on what these fellows are able to accomplish. You're on mute, Jeff.
Several DTU fellows over the past several years, and I will say that outside of the money, which is great, any type of money that could go towards the college education is outstanding. But the experience that you gain by working with publishers and editors and journalists and videographers across the country, is outstanding. And so, just to be able to, have this experience as a young person, a college student, to connect and also be able to drive one of those Chevrolets across the areas in which you're participating is outstanding as well. I was a little envious of mine. I wish I had one of those whips that I could drive around, like they did. But, I just encourage all of the young people who are aspiring content creators and journalists, videographers, or whatever space that you're in the media to go forth and fill out the application by May 16th.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rashonda, how awesome is this that the NNPA is teamed with Chevy again on this program that really benefits the HBCU students in so many different ways?
It is beyond awesome. One of the things that I really would like to see our young people do is take advantage of these opportunities. I hate to see when they're clamoring for applicants. There should be an abundance of applicants that they have to choose from, not that they have to continue to go out because nobody's applying. And a lot of times our young people don't apply because they think, well, that's something I wouldn't really get. But I'm just urging everyone to go after it. It is a wonderful opportunity to build on your resume, to just get in and see what you want to do with your future and then build things for your own portfolio. So definitely urge people to take advantage of it.
Well, go to www.nnpa.org/ChevyDTU. You'll learn all about the program and you can apply there. The instructions are there. Please do. It is a great program. Every student that's been involved in the 6 years of this program have all gave rave reviews. It's kind of changed things for them. And as Jeff pointed out, hey, the money ain't bad either. So let's get people signed up for this great program. Also coming up, we would love for you to sign up and join us out in New Orleans. Jeff, Rashonda, I know you guys are planning to be there. I'm looking forward to seeing you there in New Orleans, June the 22nd. Go to nnpa/events.com to register. Stephanie Mills is going to lead the way. Great concert, a great performance ahead of us. We know it's going to be live. It's going to be real. No better voice than Stephanie Mills. But as importantly, the Black press is celebrating 195 years this year. So you want to come join the celebration and join Jeff. I got to lift up Jeff. Jeff has a new book, Real Talk Junkies is the show on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, Jeff, right? You're on mute, Jeff.
Yes, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I've just joined the ranks of the Rashonda Tate Billingsleys of the world. You know, she's an author times a trillion. So I'm so honored to not only be on the show with her, but also be able to join that rank as well.
Congratulations.
There you go. And
Thank
Rashonda
you.
also mentioned that one of her colleagues at the Defender Network every Friday. Tell us briefly about his show.
Yeah, he has a show on Facebook, and the name escapes me. He's going to kill me, but it's a Swad Walker. He's our associate editor, and it's a powerful show on social justice and religious issues.
Awesome. Black Press is doing it all, y'all. You got to check us out. Thanks for joining Let It Be Known, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.